Members, I actually want to get us back on track because we actually need to be talking about the bill that we have before us. Not agendas, not politics, but actually the bill before us. And the bill before us is very simple because in our Constitution, in our state, in our nation, no unilateral rule in a constitutional republic, period. Our country wasn't designed, our state wasn't designed that way. There's a reason why there's 120 members in this sole chamber. It's not for unilateral rule, and that's what this bill is about. And this is exactly what the bill does. It's not about reopening our state. It's not about what the governor did or didn't do. It's not about our opinions or your opinions about what he should do and about what he should do next. It's simply about, should one person have the unilateral authority to shut down schools, businesses, livelihoods for an extended period of time, period. It doesn't take anything away. It doesn't eliminate powers. It actually just says, does this bill give one person the authority to dictate full control of our state? That's what it does. And that's the question each one of us has to answer when we press these buttons in a little bit. This issue is very interesting because it's not only being addressed here in North Carolina, it's actually being addressed all across the country because other states and legislators are coming together, doing what we're supposed to do in governing and looking at ways to change and adapt and mold our state government to respond to state of emergencies, to respond to our citizens. And if you look at what's happening in Ohio, the Ohio General Assembly just this week or last week, controlled by Republicans, overrode a veto by a Republican governor that dealt with the Emergency Powers Act in that state on this very issue dealing with health issues. If you look at what happened in Kansas, a bipartisan bill was put forth to manage emergency powers for future disasters and also health-related issues. Democrat-controlled state of New York, they're addressing their governor's emergency powers and the authority that he has or doesn't have. If you look at Texas, numerous bills have been filed all throughout the legislature dealing with the exact same thing. This is nothing new. This is not just a Republican or Democrat issue. It's actually not even a political issue. It's actually addressing the lessons that we've learned and making sure the law and the emergency powers are adjusted to better prepare for the next local, state, national, and worldwide disaster. If you want to know what people across the state are thinking, there was actually a poll that came out by the State Chamber of Commerce that said 69% of the state believe...
For what purpose, gentleman from Cumberland, Representative Richardson Rice?
Ask the majority leader a question.
Representative Bell, gentleman yield?
No, this time. No, thank you.
Okay. He doesn't yield this time. The gentleman has the floor to continue debating the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If you look at what the state chamber put out, it said that 69% of the state and that were polled actually believe a more collaborative process should be in place for emergency actions. As a matter of fact, if you take it a step further, on January the 9th of this year, Governor Cooper, during an interview with the News and Observer, they were talking about the Emergency Powers Act, and he stated, he didn't believe that we should address the Emergency Powers Act in the middle of the pandemic, but stated as soon as we turn the corner on this pandemic and later on this summer or fall, that may be something we want to look at. That time has come. It's here. Our citizens are asking us to simply clarify the law that reflects challenges and encourages more bipartisan consensus regardless of who's governor. Many people believe that in a state of emergency, you should actually have all hands on deck, not just one set of hands on deck. I would like for you to really think about this, and I want you to take a moment, and I want you to visualize this in your head. But what would happen if one person in this body could walk into this chamber and pass whatever law they wanted and bypass every single one of your voices or opinions? What would happen if the person that oversaw our state's largest economic impact, that was actually the largest vote getter in the statewide election we just had, and is responsible for feeding this entire state, wasn't even consulted during a state of emergency? How would you feel if you were the head of the statewide public school system and one person came in and told you to shut it down and there was nothing you could do? What if you were in charge of the state treasury or even the state's attorney or even possibly handling all the insured claims and making and the insurance responsibilities of the state, and you weren't even consulted or had a voice in statewide emergencies? What if there were people losing their livelihoods, forced to close their businesses, children not getting an education? These people were desperate for help. They came to you, the state representative, and all you could say was, "I'm sorry, one person made this decision and no one included me in the conversation." My friends on the other side of the aisle, I ask you this: would it change your vote if that one person was a Republican? There is no unilateral rule in a constitutional republic. Please support the bill.